Our next session is on daily regimen for drug-sensitive tuberculosis. There are two parts in this. The first part will be I'll be dealing with the diagnostic algorithm, and the next part will be of daily regimen. So, to begin with, let us start with the diagnostic algorithm for tuberculosis. So, let us start with the diagnostic algorithm for pulmonary tuberculosis. Now, a presumptive to be patients, when we suspect a tuberculosis patient, the first investigation of choice is smear examination and chest X-ray. With that, we have to ask history of HIV, because if the patient is HIV positive, directly we offer CBNAT test, okay? And that time we call that CBNAT as, anyone can tell me? Upfront CBNAT. So there are three populations where we offer upfront CBNAT. One is HIV positive, second is pediatric patient, and third is extrapulmonary. If it is not HIV positive, then we offer smear examination and chest X-ray. Now depending upon the results, if smear is positive and if chest X-ray is also positive, smear is positive but chest X-ray is not positive, I mean it is not suggestive of tuberculosis, but since smear is suggestive of tuberculosis, we label the patient as microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. If smear is negative but chest X-ray is suggestive of tuberculosis, or smear is not positive, or the smear is not available, or chest X-ray is not suggestive, or chest X-ray is not available, but the doctor, the treating physician is clinically suspecting tuberculosis. In that case, the patient can be offered CBNAT test. Now CBNAT test, as madam also discussed, there can be two possibilities. Either MTB is detected or MTB is not detected. When Mycobacterium tuberculosis is detected, what next it tells us is whether it is rifampicin sensitive, rifampicin indeterminate, or rifampicin resistant. If it is rifampicin sensitive, then we label again the patient is microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. If it is rifampicin resistant, so we offer him the programmatic management of drug resistant tuberculosis, that based on that guidelines. If rifampicin is indeterminate, in that case we do collect a fresh sample and then we do repeat a CBNAT test. Now in that repeat CBNAT test, again if rifampicin is indeterminate, then we offer LPA or liquid culture. If MTB, that is Mycobacterium tuberculosis, is not detected, but if we are suspecting tuberculosis clinically, then we label the patient as clinically diagnosed tuberculosis, because CBNAT is negative, smear is negative, chest X-ray is negative, but all the signs and symptoms is suggestive of tuberculosis. In that case, it is termed as clinically diagnosed tuberculosis. Coming to our next algorithm, this is also given in your folder, extrapulmonary tuberculosis. Now again, when you presume the patient may be having extrapulmonary tuberculosis, we collect a sample, specimen. Now that specimen may be available, may not be available. If it is available, then we do CBNAT. Again CBNAT, in some cases if it is not available, the next investigation of choice is liquid culture. Now again, as I said, CBNAT, two possibilities, MTB detected or not detected. If Mycobacterium tuberculosis is detected, again it will be rifampicin sensitive, rifampicin indeterminate, or rifampicin resistant. If it is rifampicin sensitive, we label the patient as microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. Same thing, if it is rifampicin indeterminate, repeat CBNAT. In repeat CBNAT, again it shows rifampicin indeterminate. In that case, we do liquid culture on the fresh specimen. If MTB is not detected, but again if the doctor is clinically highly suspecting tuberculosis and all other investigations have been done and it has ruled out all other diagnoses, alternative diagnoses, then we can label the patient as clinically diagnosed tuberculosis. In case where the specimen is not available, again, but if the patient, the doctor is clinically suspecting tuberculosis and we do all the other diagnostic tools and everything is negative, we can label the patients and treat the patient as clinically diagnosed tuberculosis. If the CBNAT is not available, we can go for liquid culture. Now liquid culture also, it may be either positive or it may be negative. If it is positive, it is microbiologically confirmed extrapulmonary tuberculosis. If liquid culture is negative, it is no tuberculosis. But again, if the treating physician is clinically suspecting tuberculosis, label the patient as clinically diagnosed tuberculosis. Coming to the diagnostic algorithm for pediatric pulmonary tuberculosis. So here when we suspect a patient having a pulmonary tuberculosis, a child where there is a persistent fever for more than or equal to 2 weeks, there is cough for more than 2 weeks, weight loss is more than 5% in 3 months, or there is no weight gain in last 3 months. Okay. Again, upfront CBNAT, because it is a pediatric population, no smear. So in this upfront, again MTB is detected or MTB is not detected. If Mycobacterium tuberculosis is detected, it is microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. If Mycobacterium tuberculosis CBNAT is not detected, or if the sputum is not available, then next investigation we do is X-ray chest and tuberculin skin testing. Now again, based on these permutations, what it can be? X-ray is highly suggestive of tuberculosis. So what is the X-ray findings in tuberculosis? Can anyone tell me? To tell us that is suggestive of tuberculosis? Anyone? Fibrocavitary lesions, miliary. Okay, so typically it is showing a TB case. So it is X-ray highly suggestive. In that case, we do CBNAT again with gastric aspirate or induced sputum. Again, if that gastric aspirate or induced sputum CBNAT is positive, it is microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. But if it is negative, again, if the treating physician is clinically suspecting tuberculosis, we label the patient as clinically diagnosed tuberculosis. If chest X-ray is not suggestive, it is showing a non-specific shadows, and TST, that is tuberculin skin test, is also negative, then the patient is given a course of antibiotics. After giving the course of antibiotics, even then if there is a persistent shadows in that chest X-ray or the patient is having symptoms, we again do a CBNAT on gastric aspirate or induced sputum. In that CBNAT, if it is positive, it is microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. In that CBNAT, if it is negative, it may be a case of persistent pneumonia, and then the workup has to be done for persistent pneumonia. If chest X-ray is normal but TST is negative, we have to evaluate for extrapulmonary tuberculosis. If chest X-ray is normal and TST is also negative, then we have to look for alternative cause for the symptoms. This is the algorithmic approach to diagnose drug-resistant tuberculosis in children. Now, whenever a new child TB patient comes, the first thing we have to ask is, do you have a confirmed drug sensitivity test report? If the patient or the parents get the report and it is confirmed drug resistant, I mean it is showing some resistance to drugs, then treat the patient as drug resistant tuberculosis. If it is a drug sensitive, treat it as drug sensitive TB. But if it is not available, next thing we have to ask is contact with infectious TB patient. That means with whom the child was in contact with. It may be a parents, it may be neighbors, it may be a relative, anyone if you are getting the history. Now if that source is drug resistant TB patient, if that source, not the child, if that source is drug resistant TB patient, the child may be having probable drug resistance. So we term that as probable drug resistant tuberculosis. If the drug resistant that is not known, or if the source is the retreatment TB patient, or that means previously treated patient, or if the child is on the first line treatment and that first line regimen is failing, that means the child is not responding to that first line treatment, then we call it as presumptive drug resistant tuberculosis. If the source is a drug sensitive tuberculosis or there is no known risk factor, we term it as probable drug sensitive tuberculosis. In all these cases, we do a drug sensitivity test, and again based on that drug sensitivity test, we can categorize the patient whether that patient is drug sensitive or drug resistant. Now let's revise all these algorithms. Coming to first, for pulmonary tuberculosis, what is the investigation of choice? Chest X-ray and smear. And what is to be had to us immediately? HIV. Okay. So immediately we had to ask whether the patient is HIV positive, and the investigation of choice is smear examination and chest X-ray. In which all case we label as microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. Loudly I cannot hear. Smear positive. Only smear positive. What about chest X-ray findings? Smear positive to hai. Any other? Chest X-ray may be positive, may be negative. So smear positive, chest X-ray positive. Smear positive, chest X-ray negative. Third one, if smear is negative, chest X-ray is negative, but clinically you are suspected, then what we do? CBNAT. And if the CBNAT shows rifampicin sensitive. Okay. So in the CBNAT, if it is rifampicin sensitive, then we label as microbiologically confirmed tuberculosis. Okay, next. In presumptive extrapulmonary tuberculosis, if CBNAT is not available, what is the investigation of choice? Liquid culture, correct. Okay. In pediatric population, which is the investigation of choice? CBNAT. It is called as Upton. Now after doing CBNAT and then doing X-ray and TST, if chest X-ray is normal but TST is showing positive test, then evaluate for extrapulmonary tuberculosis. Okay. In case if the infectious TB patient is a drug resistance, what is the label? What we term then child must be having? Probable drug resistant. And if that source is previously treated or if the child is failing the first line, then presumptive. So understood the difference between the probable drug resistant and the presumptive drug resistant tuberculosis. Okay. After finishing the first part, let us move our second part about the daily regimen. Before starting the daily regimen, let us understand what is the goal of giving TB treatment. Can anyone tell me what is the goal? Why we give TB treatment? Source reduction. Rightly said, the first thing is to stop transmission. Everyone knows TB is a airborne infection. It is said when a patient with infectious pulmonary tuberculosis can infect 10 to 15 persons in a year if left untreated. So when we give a treatment, what we are doing is we are stopping the transmission. We are curing the patient also, but we are doing another thing. Goal is to stop the transmission. If we see our statistics, okay, if we see take all high burden TB countries, India contributes 30% of new smear positive cases every year. So that is the burden of tuberculosis in our country. Second goal is to save life with relapse-free cure. What is this relapse-free cure? So before that, let us understand what is the meaning of relapse. Relapse means when we give the treatment to the patient. To be TB patient hai, we have given the treatment, he has completed the course. At the end of the course, his smear is negative. We term the patient is cured for tuberculosis. But after few months or few years, the patient comes back to the health center with signs and symptoms of tuberculosis. So we say the patient has relapsed. Okay. Now when we are giving the treatment, we want that the patient should not relapse. What is the reason for relapse in our country? It is reinfection or reactivation of latent infection. So we don't want that reinfection to happen again. If we see the contribution of India, 50% of relapse case is because of India itself. So that is very, very high relapse rate in India, and because of high relapse rate, there is continued transmission in our country. Coming to goal 3, to prevent drug resistance. As we have seen, the goal is to prevent the transmission. When we prevent the transmission, stop the transmission, what we are doing is we are reducing the incidence of tuberculosis. If we see all the diagnostic algorithm, another thing what we are doing is we are early detecting drug resistant tuberculosis. When we are doing early detection, what we are doing is we are secondarily preventing the drug resistant tuberculosis also, and indirectly we are reducing the incidence of tuberculosis. Coming to efficacy of regimen. Any regimen when we start, we always think how efficacy, what is the efficacy of that TB regimen. For example, in hypertensive we see whether the BP is controlled or not. Similarly in TB cases, like when we give a TB regimen, okay, we want to see whether that is fulfilling our goal or not. So efficacy of regimen in tuberculosis can be learned in like as an early outcome and the late outcomes. In early outcome, it is a sputum conversion and treatment success. Now the daily regimen which I will be talking on, okay, it says that the sputum conversion rate and treatment success rate is very high. Similarly, the long-term outcomes, it has shown that it has low relapse rate and low emergence of drug resistance. Coming to regimen for drug sensitive, I will be talking this under following headings. Coming to the first, concept of fixed dose combination. Can anyone tell me what is the meaning of fixed dose combination or FDC? Anyone?
Combination of more than one drugs in the CD.
It is more than, okay. So the definition is when there is 2 or more, obviously it has to be more than 2 to call it as fixed dose combination. So 2 or more active ingredients is used for particular indications. So in this case it is TB, and which are these TB drugs in a combination. So when we say 4-FDC, there are 4 ingredients, 4 drugs in a one tablet itself. So which are those 4? Can you tell me? It is rifampicin, isoniazid, pyrazinamide and ethambutol. Okay, and fixed combination. So isoniazid it will be 75 mg, rifampicin 150 mg, that dose. When we say 3-FDC, it is rifampicin, isoniazid and ethambutol combination. Okay. Coming to regimen, this is most important. Okay, from December 2018 onwards, this is the change. New case and previously treated cases get the same treatment. So what is gone in previously treated, what was given, which is not given now? Streptomycin. Okay, now earlier the regimen for previously treated was different and for new cases it was different. Okay, now it is same. For new case and previously treated, the intensive phase is for 2 months and continuation phase is of 4 months. In intensive phase we give HRZE, that means 4-FDC tablet, and in continuation phase we give HRE, that is 3-FDC tablet. But for record purpose, for monitoring, we are going to label the patient whether it is a new case or previously treated. That will continue, but the treatment is the same. So as per this new guidelines, what they say is all these previously treated patients, we will offer this daily regimen, but immediately we will do is drug susceptibility testing. Based on the DST report, if it is sensitive, we are going to continue this regimen. If it is resistant, then it will follow the programmatic management of drug resistant tuberculosis, which will be covered in our next session. Okay, coming to daily dose. Earlier we had DOTS which we used to give for intermittent alternate dose, but now it is daily. So when we say daily, it is from Monday to Sunday. That means Sunday also is included in this daily regimen. Every day the patient has to take a TB tablets. So these are the daily dose for first line anti-TB. So now in this first line, streptomycin is not there. It is isoniazid, rifampicin, pyrazamide, and ethambutol. Coming to dosage, as I said, 7 days per week. Okay. So when I say 2 months, it is 8 weeks. So 8 multiplied by 7, how many doses the patient has to take? 56 doses in intensive phase, and in continuation phase 112 doses. Extension of continuation phase we can do for some extrapulmonary tuberculosis, such as in neurological involvement or bone or joint TB patients. In that case, continuation phase will be continued. In this daily regimen, intensive phase is not continued. After 2 months, we start with the continuation phase. So no extension of intensive phase. Coming to the weight bands, so how these tablets are given. So under RNTCP for adult patients, these are the weight bands 25 to 39 and such 4 weight bands. So let us take one example. Suppose the patient comes, first thing what we have to do after evaluating everything, we know that we have to start with the daily regimen. We have to weigh the patient. Suppose the weight of that patient is 50 kg. In which weight band the patient will be? Loudly. Which weight band? 40 to 54. Okay. So once we know the weight, we categorize into that particular weight band. So now we know the patient's weight before starting is 50 kg. So 40 to 54. So how many tablets of 3 FDC the patient has to take? 3 FDC. Okay. So 3 tablets of 4 FDC the patient has to take in the intensive phase. And how many tablets of 3 FDC the patient has to take in continuation? 3. Okay, understood? So this is how we read the table. And when we say that 3 tablets at a time. Okay, it's not morning, afternoon, evening dose. No, we cannot give in the divided doses. At a time, the patient has to take 3 tablets. Talking about the pediatrics, the FDC which are available is this. It is HRZ. So which is missing in this? Ethambutol. So remember in pediatric, ethambutol comes as a single dose. It does not come in the combination under RNTCP. Another FDC which is available is HR for continuation phase. So as I said, ethambutol single dose or isoniazid is also available, and they are all dispersible tablets and in a flavored form. This is the drug dosage for pediatric tuberculosis. So here the weight bands are more, right from 4 kg till 39 kg. Okay. Again, let us take one example. If the patient's weight before starting is 10 kg, in which weight band the patient will be? 8 to 11. So how many tablets of HRZ the patient will take? 2 tablets. And how many tablets of ethambutol? 2 tablets. Similarly, that is in intensive phase, and in continuation phase, HR 2 tablets, ethambutol again 2 tablets. Regarding pyridoxine, under RNTCP, we don't give pyridoxine to all the TB patients. Only in those where we suspect INH neuropathy, such as those who are in risk of getting vitamin B6 deficiency, such as pregnant lady, lactating women, malnourished person, or alcoholics. In that case, pyridoxine is advisable. Talking about the packaging, everyone has seen this box? Okay, these are called as patient-wise box, but for this daily regimen, for drug sensitive, now we don't get in patient-wise box. Okay, we are provided with the strips forms. Patient-wise box is for now multi-drug, but for daily regimen, drug sensitive tuberculosis, the supply is in the strips form. But this is how the patient-wise box looks, where intensive phase and continuation phase, both the tablets, entire that is in the same box, and this is how it is packaged, and this is how the strips look like. Okay, so these are the product details, how many doses of intensive phases and continuation phases, everything is written on that box. Okay. Starting with the, like when we start the initiation, it has to be started by the medical practitioner. TB treatment cards are made. These TB treatment cards are made in the RNTCP OPD. Okay, and suitable treatment supporter is identified. And most important, Nikshay entry has to be made. Okay, that's the reason whenever you send a sample, that lab investigation form has to be done in the RNTCP OPD, because when they go there, Nikshay entry is done. So all the details of the patient is computerized. So when the patient goes to some other area, everything by that Nikshay ID, it is like a Aadhaar card ID. Just on that Nikshay ID, all the details can be, we can get all that entries again. This is how the treatment card looks like. I am not going in detail about this treatment card, but this is what as a doctor we should know whether it is a pulmonary and extrapulmonary, and so we learned about that what is a diagnostic algorithm for pulmonary and extrapulmonary. We should be able to categorize whether it is a new patient. Now we call it as a recurrent patient, and these are the different type of patients where we have to tick mark. Case definitions, now we know we either label the patient as microbiologically confirmed or it is clinically diagnosed tuberculosis. Investigations in the pre-treatment, at the end of intensive phase, okay, and at the end of treatment. So this is where the investigations are done. This is the back side of that treatment card. As I said, even if the treatment is same, new and previously treated, we have to tick mark, because for monitoring purpose we should know whether it is a new patient or previously treated patient. A little bit about the 99 dots. As I said, relapse are very high in our country. Most important is adherence to the treatment. If we see, we have to really do lot of workup on patient taking of entire course. Patient should not default. So many other the ICT mechanisms are devised where we want to see whether the patient can take the tablets regularly. So one of the thing is 99 dots. So what is done under this 99 dots? It is using the mobile phones or tabs. These tabs are provided to the treatment supporter to monitor and improve adherence to tuberculosis medications. So this is how it is. That is the strip. Red color is the strip, and this is the envelope where we put the medications. Okay. So this is how that packaging looks like. Okay. So what is done when the patient just takes 2 tablets? Like when the patient has to take 2 tablets. After taking up the 2 tablets, there is one phone number which is visible to the patient. Okay. Patient just have to give a missed call on that number. Okay. It is free of charge. Just give a missed call. So when he gives a missed call, we assume that the patient has taken the tablets. Okay. And this is how the treatment supporter can look into his dashboard. And Nikshay entry may say he can go into that 99 dots dashboard, and daily he will come to know, okay, these are my number of patients. Out of that, how many have taken the tablets, how many have missed the doses. And based on this input, the reminders can be given to the patients, and similarly alerts can be given to the provider to take immediate action so that the patient will take the tablet immediately. So this is the working of 99 dots. Thank you.